Hey everyone, this is Andrea again, and today we're going to be starting and completing step 4 of the carbon tutorial. We've already done steps 1, 2, and 3, so installing carbon, building pages, and step number 3 was fetching and rendering information from the GraphQL API, which is really fun. Looks like today we're going to be creating components, which will be really cool. Just kind of briefly looking at this before, we are going to be adding some icons, which will be fun. We'll also be adding some tokens, so spacing tokens, for example. So just remember to fetch upstream and create a new branch. I believe I already did that, so I'm going to move on to building and starting the app. And while that's going, let's see what we're expecting. Review design. Here's what we're building: an informational section that has a heading and 3 subheadings. Each subheading has accompanying copying and a pictogram. We'll assume that this informational section is used elsewhere on the site, meaning it's a great opportunity to build it as a reusable component. As for naming, we'll call it info section with 3 info card as children. So it looks like those will be the subheadings. And I'm going to start that up. Fun. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do while that's going is, looks like we're going to be creating an info directory within our components file. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oops. Create a new directory. Let's make sure our app is looking good. Awesome. Oops. Cool. Okay. And then within here, we'll be creating 3 new files, I believe, info.scss, and then index.js, and then also info.js. Perfect. Import info.scss and app.scss after all of the carbon component imports. Okay, let's add this to our app. After all of the carbon component imports. Okay. Like our other components, index.js will serve as an entry point. Since info.js will export multiple components, we'll use the asterisk wildcard in the entry point export. Perfect. So we'll be exporting all of the components within our index.js. So again, within our info directory into our index.js. Moving on to info section component. Let's create a parent component that includes the principals heading. That markup currently looks like this in landing page. I'm just going to go take a peek at that. Oh, perfect. Okay. We want to do a few things when abstracting it to a component. First, we only want carbon vx -- and this component's class names. We don't want to include landing page underscore R3 as that's specific to the landing page. For that we'll use React props that we can pass in and use props.classname. So it looks like we're going to be doing a few more things here, like adding component class names and updating grid columns to match the design, replacing the principals with the props that we pass in and replacing the columns with the children props. Using props, we can render any heading and any number of children components, such as info card. Okay, so looks like we'll be adding this into our info.js. At this point, let's add styling for the new class names that we've just added. Okay, so we're going to go into our info and add some styling. And moving on to the info card component. Next up, we're going to build a component for 2 to 4 columns, for columns 2 to 4, which currently look like divs. At the bottom of the info.js, add the following. So it looks like we are now exporting both the info section and info card. In doing so, we use the semantic article instead of div, which you can see here. Added info card classes, use props to render the heading, and set columns to match the grid. Cool. This seems pretty straightforward. They have some notes here regarding the sizes of the viewports. Nothing is styled yet, but with our components built, let's plan to put them to use. In landingpage.js, import the components towards the top of the file. So we'll be importing info section and info card. While we're at the top of landingpage.js, import the icons that we'll need as well. So these are the 3 icons that it seems that we'll be using, that we saw in the preview at the bottom of the page. Note, you'll notice that these 32 pixel icons aren't the pictograms as designed. The Carbon team is currently working on adding pictograms to the icons packages. Until then, we'll use the biggest SVGs. Cool. With everything imported, replace the current with new components. Okay, so now we're actually replacing the hard-coded divs that we have here with both info card and info section that we exported within our info.js file. Go to landing page. Let's see, hold on. Did I import it? Am I on the right page? Whoops. I did not import that correctly. Sorry about that, y'all. I should have imported this into landing page. I'm so sorry. Taking that out of there. Adding it to where it should be. And adding these 3 to the landing page as well. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. Sorry about that. So now we are still within the landing page and using the info section and info card components. There we go. Now my editor's not yelling at me. Perfect. Now is a good time to resize your browser from phone to extra large viewport width to see how the responsive grid is working before we add further styling. Oh, look at that. That's so cool. We added some icons. Okay. So it looks like there's some spacing issues. Cool. Oops. Add styling. Here's our design showing the spacing tokens that we need to add. So now it looks like we'll be kind of adjusting the spacing that we thought was really compressed. Heading into layout. Starting with layout, add the following to our info.scss file. Okay, so now we're actually adding some specific styling. Once you save, go ahead and resize your browser to see the responsive layout. Hey, look at that. Now we have some spacing. Awesome. Yeah, that looks so good. Okay, cool. I like it when things work. All right. Make sure to review these color and spacing tokens. There are also a few breakpoint mixins that may be new to you. And they've added a resource link to more of their carbon layouts. Type. Our info card headings look to be too small. We need to increase their font sizes according to the design spec with this. Okay, so now we'll be adjusting the font sizes of the info card headings within our info.css file. Also, the design has the last word in each subheading as bold. To accomplish that, add this helper function after the import in info.js. Adding a helper function. Oops, did not copy that. So it's taking in a phrase and separates a third word in the array. Okay, so it looks like we're doing some kind of just like array manipulation here by splitting, popping, and then joining the phrase again, the split phrase. Also, let's see. Oh yeah, sorry, next step. Then update info card to use create array from phrase. So now we're actually calling the function. Finally, add the declaration block in info.scss to set info card body copy. Sorry, I can't read. Body copy styles and to bottom align icons. Okay. So we're adding some styling and some alignment within our info.scss file. Cool. Now looks like we're going to check accessibility. So we've added new markup and style, so it's a good practice to check. Okay, so now it looks like we're going to check accessibility. We've added new markup and styles, so it's a good practice to check depth and make sure our rendered markup is on the right track for accessibility. With the browser extension installed, Chrome in this example, open DevTools and run dap. Okay, so let's go. So I'm going to actually have to install it really quick. Whoops. Where can I? Tools and guidance, resources. How can let's just do DAP, accessibility, Chrome extension. Add to Chrome. Perfect. I'm going to quickly refresh, and let's see where it is expected. Okay, so we've installed and now usage. For scan, go to the tools page, whoops, and click copy authentication token. Copy authentication token. Perfect. Next, in the Chrome menu, select more tools, developer tools. Okay. Okay. Let's see the next step. Just going to close this. Oops. The Elements panel should automatically open. The Elements panel is associated with multiple subpanels, such as Style Select tab near the end of the subpanel list. Where is it? Oops. I don't seem to find it. I feel like it should be here. More tools. Oops. Let's make sure this is right. Copy authentication token. Apply. Perfect. Select all. Did it miss that step in here? Okay. So in the options page, paste authentication token that you copied in step 1, and then choose one or more rule sets. Perfect. So I'm just going to choose all of them, and we're going to say apply. Enable rule archive option. I'm going to select all as well. I want to see if it says anything about enabling. In the rule archive section, enable rule archive option can be checked to enable rule archive selection. By default, the latest rule archive will be selected. Perfect. So yeah, let's just do the latest and apply. I think that's it. That's fine. Let's do select all. Perfect. Okay. Sorry about that slight derailment. After you complete the above step, scanning should begin automatically. If the scan does not happen automatically, or if you want to scan again, click the Start Scan button. Okay, so I'm going to go and see where it is. I'm not quite sure why it's not showing up, but I'm going to click the Chrome extension again. I'm really sorry I'm struggling with this, y'all. Never used it before. I'm going to see Styles Event Listener. Okay. It seems like it has it right next to, oops, Performance, Application. I unfortunately just don't see it here. Properties, Accessibility. Here we go. Something. Why isn't this picking up that I have the extension? ARIA attributes, accessibility. Oops. Looks like it's supposed to be right next to accessibility, which is a bummer. I know this doesn't do much, but I'm going to, we have our authentication, everything's set. Okay. Reviews, related, overview. I'm just looking at the images here. Maybe it'll give us a clue. Okay. Ay. I'm gonna run this again, or open this again. Let's see if it gives us something a little different. Oh, I found it! There it is. Here we go. It's scanning. I just needed to start the app again. Or open it up in a new page. I'm so sorry. Okay. So looks like that's scanning. And while that's scanning, I might move on to the next step. So the first violation is for the off-screen skip content link. But those three other violations come from article element used in new info card. Since the article lost my place. Since the article element requires a label, it seems like we may be using the wrong semantic element. A humble div will suffice. Okay. In info.js, replace the article opening and closing tags with div tags. I'm going to check on the status of this. I wonder why it's taking so long. No issues detected. Let's see. Getting something. Okay. I'm going to trust the Carbon team on this one. And within the info.js, replace the article tags with a div. Whoops. Is this a typo? I don't see. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Okay. Perfect. Cool. So I am curious. Let's see. I might kind of dig into this a little bit more and add some thoughts on it in kind of some of the closing statements. But for now, in terms of kind of focusing on the functionality of the app, I think that was our last step. So let's look. Yep. Now we are just ready to submit the pull request, which I will do now. Oops. Why doesn't this ever work for me? And we're going to commit and push. And then we are going to push to origin. And from here, we're going to create our pull request. Oops. And again, just kind of as I showed in step 3, making Carbon Design System as our base, we're going to make the base the step that you're on. So making sure that we're doing that. Oops. Awesome. Here I am. That's convenient. I'm at the top. Perfect. So this is the step number 4 pull request. Okay, so we just created our pull request and finished up step 4 of the 5-step Carbon tutorial. So what we did in this step was creating our components. So that included adding Carbon icons and spacing tokens. We were able to add a responsive grid layout, which was really awesome. So it responds to our window size, whether it's a mobile view or a larger desktop view. And yeah, just wanted to kind of leave on some final thoughts here. But this is what our final product should look like. In the next step, we're actually just deploying to the IBM Cloud. So yeah, this is it, which is really, really awesome. It was a lot of fun adding a bit more styling, adding these icons. But yeah, just a few more thoughts here. One, definitely play around with the grid layout. I didn't, and what I mean by that is the sizes. and the number of like columns, which I didn't do at all in this tutorial, and play around with the rest of the components. Carbon has a really, really extensive repository of resources. So anything from the icons to styling, and it's all incredibly documented. And again, just kind of reiterating, it's all open source, so feel free to contribute. It's it The community only continues to grow by the people that are contributing to it, so both internally and externally. The other thing I wanted to mention was most of this video was me actually just setting up DAP, which is the IBM, the IBM Google extension for accessibility assessment. I'm getting all tongue-tied here. And yeah, it was really a great opportunity to get familiar with it, but definitely recommend doing a lot more reading on your own. I personally, haven't worked on a lot of teams where accessibility has been a priority. As I've mentioned before, I'm a fairly new developer, so my extent of opportunity has been limited, but I'm really lucky to be working on a team where that is a priority. So it's great to see that the Carbon team has always incorporated that into their services and products, and made it more of a focus, especially in this tutorial. It's incredibly important to go about creating apps and products that are completely inclusive. But yeah, other than that, this has been a really fun tutorial, but I'm really excited to move on to step number 5, which is deploying to IBM Cloud.